And thousands of Starbucks workers are hitting the picket lines this weekend for a 3-day strike. The strikes at hundreds of stores will be the longest in the history of the recent push to unionize the company. This is the second major strike in a month, with many of these same baristas walking out the day Starbucks planned to debut its line of holiday cups last month. More than 250 Starbucks locations have voted to unionize. The company has around 9,000 stores.
What happens when the world's largest coffee chain goes head-to-head with a grassroots labor movement? And more importantly, what can you as a founder learn when a corporate giant's labor struggles become global headline news?
2, 3, 4, Starbucks, we won't take no more!
Just days before Christmas, Starbucks baristas walked off the job, expanding a 5-day strike to 12 cities nationwide. According to the union, Starbucks Workers United.
No contracts, no coffee!
Starbucks is facing an unprecedented wave of unionization, with over 580 stores and nearly 13,000 workers now unionized across the U.S., about 6% of their domestic workforce. What started in Buffalo in 2021 has evolved into a movement that's capturing international attention and changing how businesses everywhere approach labor relations. How leadership responds to labor organizing defines not just company culture, but global brand perception and long-term business viability. Today, I'm breaking down 3 essential strategies every founder needs when facing similar challenges. We'll examine what's happening with Starbucks' union situation, analyze the global optics, and extract 3 critical strategies you can implement in your business, regardless of size or industry. The Starbucks union movement began in December 2021, when baristas in Buffalo, New York, voted to form the first unionized Starbucks store in the US. Since then, the movement has exploded, with Workers United now representing employees at nearly 600 locations. This isn't just about baristas and executives, it's a complex web of stakeholders with competing interests.
You got to find out what makes your brand magnetic or loved. And when you find out what that is, you got to do everything you can to make sure people understand it and that you're delivering it every single time.
This is Starbucks' new CEO, Brian Niccol. And these charts show why he was hired. Starbucks is in a slump. The price of coffee has been rising, though mobile orders have increased, so have wait times. And sales are lagging. Niccol thinks these problems can be traced back to one source.
We spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to cost save our way to a very efficient drink, and not enough time on what is the experience that Starbucks provides.
Right now, some customers say that experience isn't positive. Free to the public bathrooms have caused loitering and long lines, and mobile orders have created what former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz calls a mosh pit, a crowd of waiting customers, discouraging people from staying to enjoy their drink in store and possibly order more.
What's happening at Starbucks reflects a larger trend. The National Labor Relations Board reported a 27% increase in union petitions filed in fiscal year 2024, compared to the previous year, with union election petitions more than doubling since 2021.
A new labor movement in the U.S. It's being called David versus Goliath, upstart unions versus powerful corporations.
Workers are forming unions in industries and companies that haven't seen them before.
It's like they're caught like a deer in the headlight, like they can't believe this is happening. But this is happening around the world.
I hear it, my God whisper in my ear, organize.
As a founder, how would you respond if your employees started organizing? Would you fight it or embrace it as an opportunity for dialogue?
Starbucks has accused the National Labor Relations Board of manipulating employee elections to unionize and has requested those elections to be suspended pending the outcome of an investigation. Starbucks said NLRB agents allegedly helped the union group Workers United win elections by manipulating the voting process and then collaborating to cover up the behavior. That's according to a letter Starbucks sent to, among others, NLRB Chairman Lauren McFerrin, a copy of which was seen by Reuters. A spokesperson for the NLRB said they have well-established processes for challenging elections and will carefully and objectively consider any challenges raised. A year ago, there were no unionized corporate-owned Starbucks locations in the U.S. Now, employees at 216 cafes have voted to join the union. Workers at 46 locations have voted against unionizing.
Starbucks initially took an aggressive anti-union stance, reportedly firing organizers and hiring the union-busting law firm Littler Mendelsohn. This approach generated over 1,200 unfair labor practice complaints and damaged their carefully cultivated progressive image.
Sir, Starbucks Coffee Company unequivocally, let me set the tone for this very early on, has not broken the law.
Okay. Are you aware that on March 1st, 2023, an administrative law judge found Starbucks guilty of, quote, egregious and widespread misconduct, end quote, widespread coercive behavior, and showed, quote, a general disregard for the employees' fundamental rights, end quote, in a union organizing campaign that started in Buffalo, New York in 2021. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware that those are allegations, and Congress has created a process that we are following.
However, in a surprising pivot in February 2024, Starbucks announced a framework agreement with Workers United to begin bargaining in good faith, a move that triggered a fresh wave of organizing. Let's analyze what worked and what didn't in Starbucks' approach. Here are 3 core strengths. Eventually recognized the inevitability of some unionization, protected brand by shifting to a dialogue approach, maintained operations during the transition. Here are 3 core weaknesses. Initial resistance created lasting trust issues. Global reputation damage among younger consumers. Legal costs from NLRB complaints. Delayed resolution, extended uncertainty. What could Starbucks have done differently? And what can you learn from their experience? 1. Proactive engagement before organizing began. 2. Regional pilot programs for improved working conditions. 3. Transparent communication about business constraints. 4. Employee representation on advisory boards. Some founders view unions as adversaries, while others see them as partners in building sustainable businesses. The approach you take shapes not just internal culture, but how your brand is perceived globally. The China +1 strategy for labor relations. Just as smart companies diversify supply chains beyond China, founders should diversify their labor relations approach before pressure hits. Implement regular feedback mechanisms and create multiple channels for employee concerns. This creates resilience against sudden organizing efforts by addressing issues before they become rallying points. Dual narrative communications. Prepare 2 communication frameworks. One focused on company values and fair treatment, another on financial realities and business constraints. When labor issues arise, you'll need to communicate effectively with both employees and external stakeholders. Having these frameworks ready allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Labor Relations Treasury. Build a treasury of goodwill and policy flexibility before you need it. This means implementing fair policies, competitive compensation, and meaningful engagement now, creating a buffer against future discontent. When challenges arise, you can draw from this treasury to demonstrate good faith. Here's how to implement these strategies at different company stages. Startups, 1 to 20 employees. Establish transparent compensation philosophy. Create direct feedback channels with leadership. Document fair policies as you scale. Growth stage, 20 to 100 employees. Implement formal feedback mechanisms. Benchmark compensation against industry standards. Train managers in effective employee relations. Established 100+ employees. Consider employee advisory councils. Conduct regular satisfaction surveys with action plans. Develop crisis communication protocols. The Starbucks union story teaches us that in today's interconnected world, labor relations aren't just an internal issue, they're global brand positioning. As consumers increasingly factor ethics into purchasing decisions and information travels globally at lightning speed, how companies treat workers will only become more critical to business success. Remember, the goal isn't to prevent organizing, it's to create a workplace where employees feel valued enough that organizing becomes unnecessary. If you found these strategies valuable, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell to get more founder insights delivered directly to you. And leave a comment below sharing which strategy you think is most critical in today's business environment.